What's going on, everybody? Living to learn here. Thank you for watching, for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking my videos, commenting on them, sharing them. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, follow my channel to get the content that I come out with every Monday. If you feel like you want to donate financially, I have links in the description. And how you can find the description is by clicking on the button that says more under the title of this video. You'll see 3 different ways to donate. Again, if that's something that you'd like to do. But really the views, the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, the shares, those are all payment enough. And so thank you very much for your support. Today is a little bit different as far as the video is concerned. And that is because today is my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mama. I know you're going to see this later. I love you. And thank you for everything. I mean, I could probably just do a separate video on, on all the things that my mom's done for me. But one thing I'll say about my mama is this. Before anybody believed in me, before I believed in myself, my mama did. And so I thank you for that. I'm truly blessed to be your son, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. Everything you do for my family, my boys, all of us. We appreciate you. We love you. Now, let's get started. I was thinking of something that I wanted to share just based on like my own personal experience as of late. If you have not yet followed my business page on Instagram, it is Live to Learn Coaching, LIVE, the number 2, Learn Coaching. I will share some content. A lot of times I'll share things from here as well. I'll reuse some of the clips of my videos, but then sometimes I'll share videos that are just on the page. And so, you know, I not everything is going to be found on YouTube or found on the podcast that you're going to find on the Instagram page. So if you're on Instagram, I would encourage you to follow my business page, Live to Learn Coaching. But the last reel that I did, I was being transparent. I was sharing with those watching that, you know, this has been a tough season recently from myself. A lot of things going on personally. And again, I don't want to get into details because it is personal, and I think that's okay for us to keep some things close to the chest, right? We don't have to talk about every single thing. But again, I want to be transparent. I want to be authentic with those of you who are watching and listening. And, you know, just admit, you know, it's just one of those times in my life right now that's just, it's been difficult. And, you know, difficult times, difficult seasons happen. I'm not the only one. I'm not going to be the last one. And this won't be the last time either. You know, this is just kind of what life does. It has its ups and downs. You've got some great seasons where everything's clicking and going right. And then you've got those seasons where not enough's clicking, not enough's going right. Right? And that's just kind of how it works. So I'm not alone in that. You know, and again, there's people in this world that have it, you know, a lot tougher. There's people in this world that have a lot more going on. And in reality, I mean, my problems can look very small compared to what some other people are going through. So I want to be mindful of that as well. It's not a woe is me or a you know, a pity party that I'm looking to have. But at the same time, I'm a human being. I'm a person. I am flesh and blood, and these things do affect me. So I wanted to share something with you that was just really personal, going to be from the heart, something that I wanted you to take and apply it to wherever you're at. Again, I don't insist on anybody doing anything. Reason being is, you know, we're all people. We're you know, if you're a grown adult and, you know, you're responsible, you take care of, you know, what you need to take care of, then you get to do whatever you want. You get to live how you want to live. And I'm not here to tell anybody, you know, what they should, you know, what, you know, oh, you know, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I'm just sharing with you the things that have impacted me and have been helpful to me, influential in causing me to see a need for self-development, to increase my you know, my abilities, to just go after more, to seek after the most excellent version of myself possible. I don't know how far I'll get, but I'm trying to go as far as I can. And so today I want to talk about, you know, what is that process like? And really by asking a question, what does change actually look like? And in regard to change, now this is a broad question. You can answer this a million different ways, but to get a little bit more specific, like in terms of self-development, in terms of heading on that, you know, heading on down that path of change and just becoming a better version of myself, what does that actually look like? And I started thinking about it, and the first thing that came to mind was, you know, what it looks like is, imagine going outside, digging a hole. You dig this hole, you know, however deep you're going to dig it. And then you take all the dirt that you just dug out of the hole, you fill the hole back up. The next day you go out and you do the same thing again. I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind when I thought, what does change actually look like? And the reason I came up with that picture and I wanted to share that is because I want you to really engage this. I want you to really feel what that actually means, right? Understand what that actually means. I invite you to bring all your senses into that into that picture. And what does that mean? What does that feel like? Well, it feels monotonous. It feels redundant. It feels repetitive. I mean, I'm just going to say it straight out. Sometimes it feels like you're wasting your time. Sometimes it feels like nothing's happening. That's what change looks like. That's what self-development looks like. It looks like, how much progress am I really making? What am I really doing? What's really changing? What's really going in? What's really affected here? What's happening here? And, you know, I thought of a movie, and I think this example explains it pretty clear. And again, this is a classic movie. Okay, that I grew up. I mean, this is, you know, this is memories of my childhood right here. And if you haven't heard of this movie, it's an old movie. It's called The Karate Kid. For some of you who are, you know, my age or maybe a little bit older, a little bit younger, you know about that movie. You've heard of it. It's an American classic, right? It's a feel-good story. It's a comeback story. It's everything you're looking for in a good story to make you feel good. Somebody, you know, going from being in a bad situation to a much better situation, right? Someone who's living, you know, maybe not winning so much to getting to a point where, you know, they're now, you know, they're a champion, right? They're a winner. And we love those types of stories. And so let me give you a quick breakdown about this movie, right? So the movie is basically, it's a kid, a teenager and his mom. They moved from the East Coast to California. I think they moved from New Jersey to California. In California, they're living in the Valley, which is, you know, probably about where would you say the Valley's at? Like, I'd say like outside of Los Angeles, you know, northeast or whatnot. I might be off. I know where it's at. I know how to get there, but but anyway, they moved to the Valley. They moved to California, Southern California from the East Coast. Different culture, different vibe. I mean, everything's different, right? People sound different. You know, and as a teenager, he's already, you know, in that awkward stage of trying to find himself. And now he's got a new school, new place to live. And, you know, the story starts out with him, you know, seeming like he's making some friends, making some progress. The next thing you know, he's targeted by, you know, a group of guys that just don't like him. Next thing you know, he's getting bullied. You know, they have a few scenes. And to make things worse, these guys all know martial arts, right? They all know karate. And so they know how to fight. They know how to hurt him. And there comes one scene where, and the kid's name is Daniel. So there comes one scene where Daniel's riding his bike, and here come the bullies. And of course, they're on motorcycles, right? So they always got like one up on him, right? It's not only do they know how to fight, but they got motorcycles, and he just can't get away from these guys. So there's one scene where they run him off the road. He ends up rolling down a hill with his bike. I mean, just really, you know, crashes. It's terrible. And at this point, he's just reached his limit. He's frustrated. He's upset. He's angry. You know, he grabs his bike, throws it in the dumpster. He's just mad. You know, he's upset. He's getting picked on. He's getting bullied. And the next day, he looks outside and his bike is there. And someone had grabbed it. And I don't know if they fixed it up or what they did to it, but there was his bike. So it kind of got his attention. And he goes downstairs. He notices a maintenance man is in his little, you know, maintenance office, and Daniel kind of assumes that this man is the one who repaired his bike and gave it back to him. So long story short, he ends up finding out that this older gentleman knows martial arts. And the older gentleman's name goes by the name of Mr. Miyagi, right? Mr. Miyagi is a key figure in this movie. So Daniel finally convinces Mr. Miyagi. I forgot exactly how, but he convinces Mr. Miyagi to teach him karate, right? He's getting picked on, he's getting bullied. He's like, hey, I need to learn how to fight. You know how to fight, and so teach me, right? This is what he's thinking. He's thinking karate. So, you know, like any of us, so, okay, so Mr. Miyagi agrees to teach him. And like any of us, right, if we show up, right, if I go to show up to train for some type of martial arts or fighting, you know, I'm thinking of the things that I know, right? Punches, kicks, like, you know, obviously there's going to be some kind of fighting learned here. Well, Daniel shows up for his first lesson at Mr. Miyagi's house. And, you know, there's no mats, there's no, you know, heavy bag, there's no gloves, there's no, you know, nothing, no wraps, nothing that would look like any type of fighting's happening. What there is there's a couple of cans of paint and a paintbrush. And Mr. Miyagi's telling him, all right, I want you to paint this fence. And he's like, well, you know, like kind of like, what? I thought I was here to learn karate. He's like, yeah, I want you to paint the fence. And he's very specific in how he wants him to paint the fence. He's with the way he wants him to move his wrist and his hand up and down a certain way. Right, a certain motion. He's very strict on the motion. Like, paint the fence, but make sure you do it like this. And then the story goes, you know, he comes back for another lesson. What does Mr. Miyagi have? He has a row of classic cars, beautiful cars. And he says, all right, we're going to wash the cars and wax them. Now, when it comes to the waxing, right, the famous wax on, wax off line. If you know the movie, you know that iconic line, right? Again, very specific with the hand movements. Make sure you're waxing like this and waxing off like that. And he's being very like meticulous with how he waxes the cars. And then he shows him how to sand the floor, right? He comes out, he's got a deck that needs to be sanded. So he's saying, okay, come on, you know, Daniel, you're going to help me. You know, you're going to sand this deck, right? Now, these are supposed to be trainings. This is supposed to be karate lessons. And Daniel hasn't thrown one kick. He hasn't thrown one punch. And so there comes to a point in the movie where he's frustrated, right? The young kid's frustrated. He feels like he's getting played. He feels like he's getting done dirty. Like, he feels like, hey, listen, this guy has tricked me. I asked him to train me in karate. You know what? All he's doing is using me for free labor. I'm painting his fences. I'm sanding his decks. I'm waxing and washing his cars. Like, wait a minute, man. Like, I'm getting played here. So it comes to that point, right, where Daniel shows up and he's frustrated. He's over it. He's like, hey, I'm done. I don't want any more lessons from you. You're fooling me. You're messing with me. You're not even teaching me anything, man. Like, I came to you to learn karate, right? I want to learn how to fight. I want to learn how to defend myself, right? And just real quick, I want to step away from the movie and I want to show you where this applies to me personally. Like, when I set out on this journey, right? When the light first clicked on in my mind that, you know what? I could actually change the way I see things in front of me. My perspective isn't 100% correct. It's something I need to work on. And you know what? There's actually more that I could attain. There's actually more that I could strive for. You know, I could do this. I could do that. I could coach. I can do different things. I don't just have to be an employee. I can have my own business. I can do my own thing. When I started thinking that way, I had in my mind, you know, what I wanted to see happen, how I want to see things progress, and how I wanted to see them, you know, come to pass. And like most things, it doesn't happen that way. And so automatically, when things aren't happening the way I thought that they would, I tend to lean toward, you know what, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe this is a mistake. Maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe I'm just fooling myself. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I made that reference to, you know, what does change actually look like? What does self-development actually look like? And it's like you're going outside and digging that hole, taking out that dirt, filling it back up, coming back out and doing the same thing again, right? It's just, sometimes you're going to think like, okay, this is just a waste of time. I'm never going to change. I'm never going to be that person. You start to entertain those thoughts again. This is when it gets this is the difficulty of it. This is the mental game. So I'm feeling like Daniel. I'm like, man, what am I doing? You know, I thought I was making progress. I thought things were going to get better. I thought I was improving. What's really going on? What am I really affecting? Now, going back to the movie, Daniel's frustrated. He's mad, man. He's just like, hey, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not coming back here again. You've just been playing me. Now, as a kid, I didn't pick up on this, right? As a kid, I'm just watching the entertainment. But now as I'm older, I think back, you know what? Mr. Miyagi knew what he was doing, right? I mean, and you'll find out soon. But also, the other thing I noticed, and I think, is he knew that it was going to come to a point where Daniel was going to get frustrated and confront him and say, hey, what are you doing? You're not teaching me. So anyway, in that point in the movie, Mr. Miyagi says, okay, Daniel, show me how to paint the fence. And he's like, what? Like, yeah, show me how to paint the fence. And remember, Mr. Miyagi was very meticulous with the movements, right? He wanted him to paint the fence a certain way, move his wrists and his hands up and down a certain way. So Daniel starts to replicate the movements. All of a sudden, Mr. Miyagi throws a punch. But in that movement that he used to paint the fence, it's an automatic, it's a natural movement to block the straight punch. So when Mr. Miyagi punches him, Daniel blocks his punch. Punches up higher, he goes back up with his hand like he's painting the fence, he blocks the punch again. And he does the same thing with the other movements. Show me how to wax on and wax off. Show me how to sand the floor. Daniel didn't even know, didn't even realize he was learning how to block. He was learning karate. He was training. In fact, he was learning muscle memory, which is even better because you don't even have to think. Your body just knows what to do. Mr. Miyagi knew what he was doing. He also knew that Daniel wasn't going to get it right away. And this is what I'm getting to here. This is the point I'm making. And this is what I'm saying to myself every day, especially during these moments. I'm not going to know how much this has had an effect. I'm not going to know how much I've truly changed, how much I've truly developed until my preparation meets that opportunity. And it's the same thing for you. Until that preparation, until all the work that you've been putting in, until it meets that opportunity, it's going to feel like your wheels are spinning. It's going to feel like you're just digging up that same hole every single day. It's going to feel redundant. It's going to feel monotonous. It's going to feel repetitive. It's going to feel boring. It's going to feel like you're not really getting that far, but you really, really are. And you really have changed. And you really have developed more than you gave yourself credit for. So what does change look like? What does self-development actually look like? You're not really going to understand your progress. You're not really going to see what you've done until all of that preparation meets that opportunity. And so that's my message for today. Don't quit. And I'm looking at myself. Josh, don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. If you need to quit, like, a certain pursuit, or maybe, a certain activity, maybe that, wasn't what you thought it was or whatnot, that's different. But don't quit that pursuit. If you're really trying to become a different person, if you really want to become the more excellent version of yourself, you cannot quit. You cannot quit. So what does change actually look like? It looks like a lot of little, unimportant steps that are really very significant and very important and critical, because it's an accumulation of things that builds up, and all of a sudden, all that preparation meets an opportunity. And now your eyes are open. Now you realize, I have changed. I can become that person. I can attain those things. I can accomplish those goals. I can do what I set out to do. So be encouraged today. And I hope this has been helpful. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.